Thanks for the prologue, Pat. Oh, okay, Katie, are you on live stream?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tullahoma. So welcome to those of you in person at church, to those of you on Zoom, and those of you live streaming. So today is Sunday, February 26, 2023. So the opening reading, both this reading and our responsive reading a little bit later come from Martin Luther King in acknowledgement of Black History Month. Love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. He who loves is a participant in the being of God. So now we will go to lighting of the chalice. So will someone there at church light the chalice? And Cass will do a reading, and I will light our chalice here.
Okay. The light that we now kindle is a reminder of those who gave their lives for the freedom that we cherish. May we never allow that light to falter, not in our chalice, nor in our hearts.
All right, so now we're going to have a live song performed at church. And Stan, do you want to do an introduction for that or say any opening remarks?
Sure. It's just that we're delighted to be here with you this morning, and my wife Kim is going to do a song for us that seemed appropriate for the day and my message. Kim is a lifelong professional songwriter from Nashville. She's toured around the country for years, and we've been married 2 years now, and she's been active in our church in Clarksville, and was here one time before, and I'll just stop there and just say I'm glad you're here this morning, honey. All right.
Is this a good spot for me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This speaker, this is an amazing microphone.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. And I guess just a quick backdrop on the song. Written early in my career in Nashville. I moved here from Jersey to write songs, to learn how to write songs. And I was sitting in the kitchen of my friend Ellen Britton, trying to write a song. And she had young children, and they were literally running around the table, like doing circles around the table. And I never had children, so I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Completely like that. So somehow in the midst of that, we wrote this song. It's called Peace in My Heart. I don't know how it happened. Lose my smile, and by the end of
to announcements. So if you, and Katie, if you can switch the screen around again to the front view. So yeah, there we go. So if you have an announcement, raise your hand. Tom.
We have two guests here, first time, so maybe they can introduce themselves real quick.
Okay. Well, my name is Kelly Martin, and I've lived here in this community for several years and been by here many times, and finally just decided
Find out what it's all
stop by.
about,
Yes.
right?
So thank you for having me.
Good.
And I'm Melissa Nieschultz, and I've lived here for, I guess it works out to a little more than a year. I came here from Michigan, just kind of on a dream. No family came with me and everything, but I live in Manchester. So.
Glad you're here.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you. Rick.
Yeah, to paraphrase an announcement that Chuck has made, which I think most of you have seen. The Rethink group on Thursdays is going to kind of end up that series at our next meeting next Thursday, and we will be thinking about other directions we might take, returning to our TED Talk review format or some other format, and we're soliciting input from anyone who's interested in maybe not interested in Rethink, but interested in something else, and continuing that Thursday night get together on Zoom. It will continue to be on Zoom, I believe. But anyway, just announcing that and soliciting input from anyone who's interested. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Other announcements?
Yes.
Tony?
Yeah, got with the board last week, and just a cursory announcement, I'll be getting with the outreach committee. We're gonna try and do just a gathering, not a real retreat, in the next couple of months. Some kind of spring thing in the park, maybe bring your dog, that kind of stuff. Just real low key kind of potluck social gathering, just to help bring us back together. So just keep an eye out for that.
All right. Thank you, Tony, and thanks for kind of getting that started. Tom?
I have in my truck about 7 books of poetry, boxes of poetry. One of the 7 are autographed, but right now we're gonna hang on to those. First choice is anybody that's in the writing group, which will meet here on the second Thursday at 6 to 8. Y'all can come if you'd like. If you write anything, sign checks, put your name on it. So anyway, that's all it takes. That's writing. Okay, there you go. So anyway, I've got them out there in the truck, and if anybody wants to take a look through those today, we can do that, and we'll make it available on a couple of weeks out, I guess, now when we get everybody here. But since this is sponsored by us here at the church, I think everybody here ought to get a shot at it. So anyway, they're out there, and we'll go out at some point if anybody's interested. Just say so, and then we'll go just pull down the tailgate and take a look at some of the books that are there. So anyway, there you go.
I think Bill Boss ought to rate his books too.
Yeah, right. You had 2 of them made, right? Yeah. Okay.
Other announcements? John? Yes.
Just repeating that my talk will be the first Sunday in April, and it will be sort of an April Fool's talk. And I'm encouraging everybody to please bring a joke with you, because I will call on everybody. We will get all involved in this, and we'll have a rollicking good time, I hope, telling jokes with each other. But there'll also be some good sense to it too. Not a whole lot, but some. But be looking up a joke when you go home today, and if you have some jokes that you remember, write them down on a piece of paper so you won't forget them. And we'll be intermingling, as I say, a little bit of good sense with jokes. Thank you very much.
John, thanks. Anything else? Yeah, Carrie.
It's time for the newsletter. I'm sorry, I have a sinus infection. It's time for the newsletter, so if you have anything you want to put in it, hello? Is there anybody there?
Yeah.
So I need that, hopefully by Tuesday. Please, thank you.
Hey, Terry, if you'd put that good write-up from Chuck in there, I'm sure you will. Thank you. About Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, I saw that, yeah, thank you.
Any other announcements? All right, I have a few. According to our schedule, next week's speaker is Katrina Phillips, and the topic is paganism and goddess worship. So that's next Sunday. I believe we have a potluck. You guys have a potluck at church after service today, and it's suggested a minimum $5 donation. And what's going to happen with that money at the end of the fiscal year, we will make donations, and the 4 organizations at the moment that the board's considering, it's been recommended to the board that we donate to our the Caring Community Ministry, and that's the Attic Outlet, is their storefront. Good Samaritan is another one. Haven of Hope is a place where it helps women in difficult situations, and then Imagination Library, which involves free books for youngsters. So that's where the money is. At the moment, it looks like where it's going to go. And if you wish to donate to the church, financially support the church, you can write a check, send it to our treasurer at P.O. Box 331 in Tullahoma, or drop them check or cash in a little shaker box in the back of the room. Last call for announcements. We will move on to our responsive reading, and as I said earlier, this is also by Martin Luther King. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?
Justice makes tireless demands, and we grow weary.
Cowardice asks, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? And vanity comes along and asks the question, is it popular?
But conscience asks the question, is it right?
That old law about an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind. The time is always right to do the right thing.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that.
Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Now it's time for our speaker, and Stan Bumgarner is our speaker, and the title I have is The Importance of Letting Go. If it's something different than that, Stan, please straighten us up.
Thank you. Very nice. Well, it's great to be back. Lucy, it's so good to see you, and Bill, and new faces. Welcome. We're glad you're here. And got it. Perfect. So it is the importance of letting go. And I just want to start off by saying, after sitting here, I've decided to kind of adjust my talk on the fly. But it will all be still about letting go. You know, the Buddhists say, life is suffering, 4 noble truths. The life is suffering. And that our suffering is caused by our attachments to things. If we want to ease our suffering, then we need to ease our attachments. Let them go. And that the way to learn how to do that is the Eightfold Path. Now, I don't want to go into a lot of detail about that, but the Eightfold Path being the idea of right speech and right actions, right concentration, right livelihood. In essence, learning how to live and think in a healthy, spiritual, just way. And I think about suffering, of course. We look around and we've lost friends, people pass away, pets die, we move, other people move, and things hurt. But when I think about it in a more total picture, that suffering, I think the Buddhists are talking about, is a sense of discontentedness. I'm just not happy. And I kind of have a dark sense of the world and the possibilities of things. So what I want to talk about today is letting go of some of the ways I think and act that stand in my way from feeling content and hopeful. I'm sure you've all heard the stories about how they trap monkeys. We put a hollowed gourd out with a little hole in it just big enough for the monkey to put his hand in. And in the bottom of the gourd, there's a little treat that he wants, and he reaches in to get it. And then, because of the shape of his fist, he can't get out. And that's how I find many of us live our lives without realizing it. I'm holding on to something, and I'm trapped, and I can't let go. And if I could just drop it, my hand would come out, and my life would be different. Now, one of the ways I know I'm like this is when I'm kind of stuck in a certain mindset. And Kim's heard me tell this many times before, some of you may have, but I know I'm going to be dating myself when I say, do you remember when Netflix used to come in the mail? Right? I would go on the website and just love looking at all the different movies, and then I'd order them and wait in anticipation, and it would show up in the mailbox, and then I'd go in and I'd spend whole weekends watching 3 or 4 movies. At the time, my kids were young, so when they were with me, the week I had them, it was pretty draining. The week after, when they were with their mom, was a recuperation period, and I would watch a lot of movies. Okay, so many, in fact, that the people at Netflix became quite friendly with me. And I got a letter one day that said, "Dear Stan, based on your preference for dark European documentaries, we think you'd like the following movies." When I am being assessed by Netflix as a person that will be drawn to more dark European documentaries, I probably need to think about what kind of mind space I'm in. So when we think about suffering, I think about the way we think and act, because my thoughts drive my actions. And I need to let go of things. Some of the things that I need to let go of have to do with food, smoking, binge watching television, sitting on my phone. I think things would be a lot more engaging at home if I weren't doing this while Kim was talking about things. Anybody else guilty of that? I'm sure I'm the only one. Right. But in the context of what we're talking about this morning, the idea of letting go of old ways of thinking so that we can open up the possibility for more, to end our suffering. And that is something that requires us, and this is where I'm going off script here. This is what causes us the need, that causes the need for us to become more awakened about things. And I know there's this huge dialogue going on now in the country about being awakened and woke culture and all that. But there are things that I don't understand until someone teaches me and raises my consciousness. And I can remember when, this is back in 1975, when I'm going to LSU, and the preferred Sunday afternoon activity was to go to West Baton Rouge Parish because they served beer over there and play pool all afternoon. Probably why I had the GPA that I had, but yeah, I got a social promotion out of LSU. I don't know how I ever got out there. But the idea I want to share with you is that playing pool one Sunday, I looked over and noticed that the bartender had his back turned to us, and he was opening the slot in a little window behind the bar, and I was kind of curious to see what was happening. And a black hand passed the money through that window. Bartender took it, took 2 beers, put them on the ledge. Black hands took it and closed that window. Now, I would like to say I found that in that moment terribly offensive and thought something ought to happen. But that's not at all what happened to me. It just was the way it is. And I wasn't outraged. I just kept drinking beer and playing pool. Now, all these years later, if we saw something like that, we'd be appalled. My question to us is, what other things go on like that that we're just unaware of because of who we are? And I'm not saying because of our white privilege, but I am saying because of our lack of awareness. We need to be conscientized with new information. And so when we do that, it gives us a chance to release and relieve our own suffering when we learn more. As Unitarian Universalists, we have always been on the forefront of new thought, of questioning. And we find ourselves now in pretty interesting times. I did a talk a couple of weeks ago in Clarksville, and my basic question was, what happened to the Enlightenment? When did we become anti-intellectual? When did we become anti-consciousness rising, anti-scientific, and now the dialogue, the conversation that I'm hearing around requires us more than ever to step forward, encourage, and share our truth. That responsive reading that we did today, when is my courage, when does my courage step to the forefront? When do I make the decisions based on conscience and what's right? Because I have to let go of worrying about what people think of me. And I have to speak truth as I understand it. Now, one of the ways I know, and I had a whole prepared list of things that we need to let go of to move on, but I do want to just explore one, most important one, and that is I need to let go of my perception of myself as someone who cannot make a difference, because that's a very easy thing that we fall into. And in fact, the truth is, and I'll never forget, I mean, some of you know this and some don't. I mean, as a divinity school student, I had the great fortune of being a regular speaker here. And I learned so much from this congregation. And it's crazy to think about it, Chuck, but it's been 20 years. It's been a long time. In fact, the room used to be set up differently. The first time I ever spoke, you spoke over there in that corner. And I remember pontificating on how we needed to change the world. And in the talk back afterwards, John Lynch said, Stan, you know, I have a hard enough time changing myself. I can't even think about changing the world. It's too big. And I've never forgotten that because it's so very true. But if I'm not careful, I don't even do the things that I can do because I get too busy and too distracted. So my challenge is this morning to ask you to look around and see the things that we can do and let go of this notion that we can't make a difference. We need to, as it said, step into the light. Now here's one of the things I did want to talk about. The thing that causes some of the most of my suffering is my inability to let go of other people's behavior, particularly my wife's. And her struggle is letting go of my behavior. No, we joke about this all the time because it's part of our growth to just let other people be, right? And not have unreasonable expectations of them. You know, my kids are 21 now, if you can believe that. It's crazy. Which another whole talk is that time is an illusion. That you blink your eyes and that your kids were in first grade and now they're in college, right? But the idea of the suffering of my expectations of other people and just letting them be. And one of the other things that causes my suffering more than anything else is self-doubt. Self-doubt. That shame that tells me I'm not good enough to do something. And if I can get past that, as Brene Brown says, the next gremlin that gets me is, who do you think you are? Right? Who do you think you are to write a book, to write a poem, to stand up and be heard? And so I'll stop there. It's great to see you all in this source of safety and place to speak to the liberal religious impulse, the liberal religious values that we all embrace. This is not a 2,000 member church where people go to rubber stamp what they believe or what they've been told. Here we say to question is the answer. And so part of my need to let go is thinking that I know what's best for you, how you want to act, but also letting go of the fact that I'm not good enough, that I can't make a difference. I need to let my light shine. I need to step into it. And with that, I'll conclude by encouraging each person here to take the step that you can take to make a difference, just a little bit. We work on ourselves, but we can, by working on ourselves and reaching out and being courageous, we can do our part. And I'll conclude there, and I'm going to ask Kim to come up and do another song, and she'll give you the background on that, and then look forward to the talk back afterwards. Okay, but it's great to be with you. Okay.
So now I get why you want me to do this song. I kept saying, what songs am I doing? Then we'd forget which ones we said, and then he'd say this one, and I'd be like, really? So
Kim, just a second. Last time the music did not come through onto Zoom, so I don't know if you stand closer to the mic, if that would help, or if we have a feedback problem somehow. Try standing a little closer there, please.
okay.
Thank you.
There you go.
So let me think. Wrote this with two other people, two guys, one whom I just met, and he was from out of town. And the other one I've written many songs with, and I love writing with the other guy. So it's interesting in Nashville, when you get together and you write a song, it's like everybody wins, there's no hierarchy. That's the way it is in Nashville. I don't know about the other writing towns. But so basically the fellow from out of town just kind of was like sitting there like, whoa, like, and just watching us do our thing the way we always do. And it happened real fast, and I like a song that gets written real quickly. It's less of a burden, because when they're coming out, it's kind of like a birthing process, and if they take a long time, it's hard. So a couple weeks went by, and I was just messing around with it at the house and singing it and playing it, and I called them up and I said, hey guys, there's one word I've got to add, one word, and that word is sister, because the song is called Don't Hide Your Light. In my opinion, it's more frequently a woman that's kind of hiding out than a man. Now, I hate to be, gender specific like that, but so I added the word sister, and you'll hear how it is. Oh, there ain't no use sitting around trying to hide your light. There's nothing you can do to make that feel right.
thank you. And we'll now close with our typical traditional closing song as we leave this friendly place.
And for those of you on Zoom, if you mute while you sing, that would be nice.
All right. So,
What's
as we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts till we return.